We got Mitch in. Should we bring him on?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
Okay. Do you want to stop sharing and we'll bring on?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. The curator and the
scholar.
the man who saved all the footage from
the man who's currently connecting to audio.
Yes, and also was in touch with Frank Massey. You got the footage. It's Mitch Friedman, everybody. Hi, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch. Can we hear you? We can't hear you. Hit the mute. There's a mute button down the right, bottom right of the screen. Do you see the mute?
I think it says connecting to audio.
Oh. Yeah.
It might just take a second.
Come on, connect, Mitch. Connect. Can you?
I just hit unmute. There we go. Hey, Mitch.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. There you are.
How's it going over there?
Right here in this particular spot?
Yes.
Pretty comfortable.
Okay,
it looks comfy.
How are you?
Good. We were excited to talk to you because you are the scholar, and I just noticed this huge stain on my shirt.
Yeah, I just noticed that too.
But you are the scholar of Stairway to Stardom. I don't think anybody knows more about it than you. Is that true?
Well, my best friend, Doug Miller, who actually collaborated with me on all these DVDs and things.
On this particular, the one that you gave us?
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
He knows as much about it as I do, because he tries to not let anybody else know that, though, because it's a little embarrassing.
Tell us how you discovered Stairway to Stardom and then how you ended up with the footage.
A friend of mine named Erwin Chusid, who's a disc jockey at WFMU, shared with me. That's what he used to compile these cassettes of what he called atrocious music, and he used to do that on his radio show. He used to play stuff from those tapes, and one of them had the audio from Evie Day's commercial. If you have talent, here's the golden apple. So, but that was it. It was just this disembodied voice with this weird accent. So I asked him about what that was, and he told me. And then he actually, he said, "Oh, it's the show Stairway to Stardom." And then that was it. I didn't know anything else about it. He didn't really know anything else about it. And then one day in about 1990, it was a Saturday night, about 6 o'clock, and I was bored. And I put on New York Public Access. I was just flipping the channels around, and I, for whatever reason, ended up on the channel that Stairway to Stardom was about to air on. And it just came on, and it turned out to be one of the most amazing episodes of all of them.
What year is this?
About 1990, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. What was the episode?
It was the one with Lucille Cataldo doing Hairdresser.
Really?
Don Costello doing Mana Mana.
Whoa.
Alvia.
Yes, Alvia.
Sure. Wild and crazy guy.
Yeah, it was all that, and Frank starting the show doing lip syncing terribly to "I'll Never Fall in Love Again."
Oh wow, nothing but hits.
So is that where your obsession started then? And then you're like, I got to find more of this.
That within those 30 seconds, I would say, not even 30 minutes. So by the end, yeah, exactly, that's what happened. So by the end, after it finished, I was like, what the. When am I going to see this again? How the hell can I possibly? What is this?
Yeah, and this is pre-internet too, so it's not like you can just do a Google search and find more.
To search anything.
Yeah.
So my friend Doug, who was my roommate at the time, came home and I told him about it, and he was actually furious with me because he said, "Well, what if I never get to see it now? You told me all this of me." So the next Saturday night, I had a videotape ready to record, and it was 6 o'clock, and we're like, praying, please, some other episode would come on, and they just showed that same episode again. So it was perfect. He got to see it.
Oh, because that's pretty much a perfect episode.
Oh
right?
yeah,
I mean, like
you couldn't do better than to start with that episode.
It was like an all-star team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, an all-star team for the the 62 Mets maybe. but so then a few months went on, and they showed 3 or 4 other episodes, and then they just stopped airing completely. So we're like, oops, sorry. We're like, we're not going to be denied. We have to find more of these. And Frank Massey left. He always had his phone number an address at the end of the episodes for people to write to him or whatever. So we're like, all right, we're calling him up, and we kind of lied to him and said that we were making. No, we both were editors, so we were in the post-production business.
Yeah.
We weren't filmmakers, but we said, well, we're making a documentary about public access TV, and we really enjoy your show. And do you have any other footage that we might be able to see? And he said, yeah, just come over and I'll tell you what. So we went to his house in I think it was maybe Bay Ridge in Brooklyn. It was not an impressive, place to live. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And he showed us, Tilly was there, his wife and lovely co-host. And he showed us that he had found like 40 3/4-inch, U-matic tapes.
Yeah.
Each one with an episode on it. And that was only had 40 of them. So that's like 20 hours of stuff, I'd say. And we said, well, is this it? Is this all the shows you ever did? And he goes, no, there were probably 100 other shows, but I just recorded over them with these tapes. I was ready to kill myself and him.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, like, oh, don't. But, we had to settle for 20 hours of Stairway to Stardom.
You were like, we're never going to finish this documentary now.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked him into like letting us borrow half the tapes first. And we said, we're just going to screen them for a and we just borrowed them and dubbed every one of them. And then went back a few months later and got the other half. And then we felt bad, like we were taking advantage of him. So we gave him $100 and a dozen cannolis. And and he was thrilled about the cannolis. He's like, look, Tilly, cannolis.
I mean, you're in good company here because Nick and I do this on a weekly basis with people. We don't necessarily lie, but we push the truth a little bit just so that we can get a little bit more.
And we also don't have money, but we could get some cannoli. So,
yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah. So
that's, that's basically it.
But you've done your research on everybody in the show. So like,
as much as we can.
My current obsession is Hal Green. And I feel like, first of all, let me just say, I feel like everybody in this show, there needs to be a movie about this show because everybody seems like a movie character. Hal Green just seems like when he's not on, he's going in the alley and he's having a cigarette and taking a sip from his flask. Well, what do you know about Hal Green?
What I know about Hal Green is that it's hard to believe this is true from watching his drumming skills on Stairway to Stardom, but he was in a big band in the 40s, I think. He was the drummer for somebody named like I forget the guy's name, but he was known as like the Swedish saxophone or something like that. I forget the guy's name.
It was a big act though?
Yeah, it was a big act. Well, I don't know how big, but Hal Green was the drummer for that,
And he toured around the country, I assume, or Sweden, or
But between that in the 40s and playing in a crappy public access studio in the 80s, who knows what happened? Between those. Right. And then the funny thing was, at the time that I discovered all this, I was working in over near the UN. That's where the office was that I was working out of. So I used to have to work really late, and all the time. And I have to I'd have to walk in horrible winter for like 10 blocks to the subway, and absolutely miserable and exhausted. And one time it was really cold. It was like midnight. I got down to the subway, got on, sat down, and Hal Green was sitting right across from me.
Did you say anything?
No. What was I going to say? Hey, you're Hal Green, the drummer from Stairway to Stardom.
He would have loved it. He would have loved that.
He would have had a heart attack.
Who are some of the other people you've tracked down and know something about?
Well, I mean, all the King's Men. My friend Doug and I, we put on this in 2006. We put on this event at, was it called Monkey Town?
I remember that venue in Williamsburg. It was something like that. It
was a Stairway to Stardom event where we showed, we showed a bunch of the different bits, and we managed to get all the King's Men to perform, and also Jimmy Schwartzman.
Oh, Schwartzman!
We just saw him last week. Yeah.
Well, you see a lot of regulars. Like Schwartzman's a regular. Precious is a regular.
By the way, Schwartzman's cousin is Colin Quinn.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, you are
There's some
the
trivia for you.
the expert.
What about Lucille
I-
Cataldo?
Yeah.
What?
Well, this is completely improbable, but it happened. I lived in San Francisco from like 94 to 97-ish, and then I moved to Brooklyn. And one day I was just like waiting outside. There's some sushi restaurant like around the corner from where I lived. And I put in my order, and then I just waited. I said, I'll just wait outside on the sidewalk, and you just get somebody come out and tell me when it's ready, and So I was just milling about on the sidewalk in front of this sushi restaurant, and there was an empty parking space like right in front of me on the curb. But there was no car there. And I'm just standing there, and I see a car drive down the street and pull right into the spot. And I'm looking, and I was like, wait a second. I think that's Lucille Cataldo driving the car.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, so the car stopped, parked, door opened, and it was her.
This is a sign.
Literally, like right in front of me.
This is a sign.
Yeah.
Like you sit in a subway across from Hal Green.
I know. It was
Lucille Cataldo comes up in San Francisco.
No,
right?
it was in Brooklyn.
Oh, that was in Brooklyn. Okay, all right.
But so she got out of the car, and then she walked across the street the other way to go buy some toilet paper or something. And then on the way back, as she came back across the street to get into her car, I had to, I had to say something.
Yeah. What'd you say?
She opened her trunk, and she was like putting groceries or whatever in the trunk. And I said, excuse me, I don't mean to bother you, but are you, I already knew the answer to this, but I said, are you Lucille Cataldo? And she's like, yeah, how did you know that? It was basically, thought she was being stalked or something.
Yeah.
And I had to explain that I was a big fan of Stairway to Stardom. Saw her, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so long ago, So we kind of freaked her out a little bit. This was like about a week or two after the Daily Show used to have, when it first started, they used to have a segment called Public Excess. And it was hosted by the guy, Rich Brown, who was the host of Beyond Vaudeville. And
the other New York public access show, right?
Yeah. And he had shown the hairdresser thing like a week or two before, and they all made fun of it. So she was really angry about that.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to make believe that I was like, oh, no, I agree. That was rude. I would never do anything like that. But so that's who I think those are the only ones I've actually met in person.
Well, like around 2006 or 7, we did a show at Automotive High School in Brooklyn. I think we lost Joe for a second. But yeah, Melissa Ann Ledwan came on and did the dance that she did. Which was incredible. So yeah.
And I know somebody else tracked down Michael Daniel Baez, who was the kid who sang You May Be Right.
Yes,
very nervously.
Right.
He's like an actor and a karate teacher in LA.
Really?
I don't know.
We also found what was her name? Last week we found I can't remember. I think she did like a song from South Pacific or something. I just found her recently. She had a Tumblr post or something. So
a song from South Pacific.
Yeah, I want to watch that. Yeah.
No, come on. You found her?
I think so. Yeah.
Tony Marie Toronto?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Found her. Yeah.
I'll have to share that with me.
Yeah, I'll send you the info as soon as we're off from this. What I was going to ask is like, what's the latest? Like, you made those compilations.
Yeah.
Do you still have the 20 extra hours of footage, or?
Well, no, we had to return the tapes.
So you did, but you dubbed it all, didn't you?
We dubbed them. So
do you still have all the original footage?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I started a YouTube channel, and first it was just for about 90 little clips from just little individual clips from the show. But then I decided, you know what? This isn't fair. I should upload the full episodes, the actual original full episodes. So I've uploaded about 25 of them, I would say.
Wow.
And I challenge anyone to sit through one of those. But here's the thing that still I don't get. I can't say I had a lot well, let's say I had a few thousand subscribers on the Stairway to Stardom YouTube channel, right? But it went about 10 years from the time that I first started it and loaded anything. I never added anything to it other than when I first started the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So all these people subscribed to it. So then when I started uploading the full episodes, you know, I would do like 5 or 6 at one time. And so I guess you get emails telling you, if you've subscribed to something, you get emails telling you there's a new thing. Every time I would do that, hundreds of people would unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe?
Like they're annoyed. Don't annoy me with telling me that you added more stuff to the channel that I want to know when you add stuff.
What? Who are
It
these
just
monsters?
made no sense at all.
Who are these animals?
So anyway, that's, yeah.
Hey, is Alec Baldwin a fan? I've heard that Alec Baldwin.
Is Alec Baldwin a fan? I don't know. I don't know
if I had a dream about that or if I read it.
No, you're right. You're right. He did mention it somewhere. I forget
in an
where
interview.
that was.
Yeah. Somewhere in an interview he mentioned.
Well, you know who else is a fan?
Who?
Marshall Crenshaw.
Who?
Marshall Crenshaw, the famous Someday, Someway songwriter from, you know, he played John Lennon in Beatlemania. And he,
Okay.
Bjork is a fan.
Bjork too?
Yeah. And John C. Reilly and Philip Seymour Hoffman were very big fans of it.
Really?
Yeah.
They grew up watching it, or?
No. It was like a friend of mine happened to be friends with them. And they, you know, they just shared it with them. And then, you know, everybody.
Oh, man. What about this? Have you thought about releasing this, like, we'll sell it on our website. If you put it out, we'll distribute it for you.
I mean,
this is absolutely beautiful with like all the.
Oh, thank you.
With all the, and just so much.
We could commercially release it in like a plastic case, you know, if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, but the thing is,
or just like this.
What we thought about making some kind of a documentary about a real one, you know, not a lie this time. And but we determined that we couldn't possibly get the rights to any of this stuff because most of the people do cover versions of famous songs, so you never get the rights to use the songs, nor would you be able to track down the people that perform them.
Well, Nick just tracked down Lola Peraza just 25 minutes ago.
What?
And he just got a message from her. Has she responded back to your message?
Let's see if Lola got back to me.
Oh no.
Share
not gotten back.
So you can see Mitch. Can you share it with Mitch so he can see Lola today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they're all on Facebook now.
Yeah.
You know?
I found Michelle Sutlovich on Facebook too.
Oh yeah.
Which one is that?
She was
Fame,
the one who
right? Did the self-taught dance to fame.
Oh, yes.
And her mother taught her how to do it.
Yeah, right. What she says, my mother tells me what to do, and I do it.
And I just do it. Yeah.
Here's Lola Peraza.
That's always a good.
Right.
And she still dances too. She still does dance.
What?
Yeah.
But she's probably like about 50 years old now, right?
Yeah, 45, 50.
We figured like 53.
Well, so
yeah, she looks great.
And she got her braces off at least.
Exactly. Yeah, and Nick is friends with her now on Facebook. So
close personal friend.
Pretty message.
And there's another one. There was a stand-up comedian named Rich Halke. He was like a really young kid, and he was wearing a T-shirt that said Jimmy Hoffa's Ghost on it.
He's about to come up. We're just watching him. Yeah. He was the next act in our current compilation. Yeah.
Well, he's like a comedy writer in L.A.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's actually made it as well, I mean, I don't know how successful he is, but he actually is still doing comedy. So that's, you know.
Wow, that isn't bad. So he did kind of make it up the Stairway to Stardom a little bit.
He did, yeah. He might have tripped a little bit. He eventually
got yeah, well, I feel like somehow, you know, this has to, I feel like people have seen it in bits and pieces, but it's just like an endless well of entertaining footage. I mean, even like just we're thinking about like the squiggles, you know, that technology where it's the squiggles and all that. I mean, it's
I agree. I mean, more people should see it, but it's a conundrum because, you know, Frank Massey passed away. Tilly probably doesn't want to, you know.
Well, you know, I talked to Tilly recently. We wanted to license some of it for a True TV show that we were doing.
Right.
And we gave her $500 for just a couple snippets, and she was great. And she invited me up to her house, and she answered all my questions.
Oh, that's nice.
I didn't shoot anything on camera, but like, you know, she seemed very excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's like right up the street. She's in Brooklyn here.
Yeah, she's probably still lives in that same place that they were. Well, yeah.
Yeah, old folks
somewhere
home.
in Park Slope or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Park Slope Terrace or something.
What
like that.
What can you tell us about Don Costello? We genuinely think he's so great.
Oh, yeah. Well, Don Costello. I mean, he says it himself. He was in Guys and Dolls, supposedly. I don't know which version of it.
Right.
He was in The Toxic Avenger.
What?
Yeah.
I could see
He's in
Lloyd
The Toxic
Kaufman
Avenger.
being like, "Okay, let's bring this guy," and he does funny faces.
Yeah. He was in The Toxic Avenger, and what else do I know about?
Wow, that
He's a true performer though. He seems like he's been trained.
He was an actual professional comedian.
Yeah. Like a borscht belt kind of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that he and, according to Frank, he and Alvia became good friends until he passed away. Until Don passed away. We don't know what happened to Alvia. But
yeah.
He's
probably on Facebook. Nick is probably going to be friends with him pretty soon.
Believe me, I've been looking for him forever. I mean, you realize how many Alvias there must be?
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what? You just got to you got to just make this documentary. You got to make the document the definitive because think about we were just talking about this about public access for a show to be on for 14 years. That's the 60 minutes of public access, isn't it? Like to have 14 years of a show,
hundreds of episodes too.
Who cares about the copyright stuff? It's the Wild West now with all that. You can do fair use.
Well, but the other thing is, what would a documentary be other than the clips? You'd have to interview people that were on the show, and that means you'd have to actually, it wouldn't be so. It wouldn't be as easy as.
And I think half of them aren't with us anymore.
I would assume. Yeah. Although Evie Day might still be alive somehow.
Yeah.
I know Jerry King lived to be about 100. He was the piano player with the dewlap.
Yes.
We call him the Dan Klaus character.
The what character?
A Dan Klaus character.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like a Dan
eight
Klaus.
Ball and yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's. I mean, every single one has a story because they were all trying to be stars, and it's so it's all interesting,
It's absolutely sincere.
Did anybody become a star?
One person.
Really? Who?
No, apparently two people. Well, I don't know what star is. There was a guy named. Actually, I didn't put it on any of the compilations because he was actually too good.
Right.
It was C.P. Lacey was his name. He's in one or two of the full episodes, so he's on the YouTube page somewhere. You can see him. But he was an impressionist, and he did pretty good impressions of Michael Jackson and James Brown, and he was actually pretty good. And I saw him in Washington Square Park entertaining once, and then of all the freaky things, he turned out to be. Remember the show Showtime at the Apollo?
Yeah.
He turned out to be the first clown with the hook that would drag people off.
Really?
The stage. Yeah. So that's one
Wow.
bit of fame.
Make this documentary. There's so many stories here.
And then there's one other person that he was like a 16-year-old, very athletic dancer guy, named Michael. I forget what his name. Michael Ciula or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Michael wasn't even his name. Anthony. And he turned out to be a very well-respected Broadway choreographer.
That's so cool.
And he got a start on Stairway to Stardom.
So that's
right.
it. Other than that, I don't know. There may be. Those are the only two I've ever heard of doing anything outside of.
But you'd never know because half the episodes were taped over, right? And
who knows what?
They're just out in outer space right now.
I mean, there's even one episode that has James Earl Jones's half brother on it.
What?
It's the Matthew Earl Jones Band.
Whoa.
You have the footage of that?
That's another one on a full episode because it was just some generic 80s rock, synth rock stuff. But yeah, James Earl Jones is. So think about that. I bet they keep that quiet in the family. But
everyone should, if they want more, we're gonna do more. But if they want more, you can go to is it just Stairway to Stardom, the YouTube channel?
Yeah. Easy to find. Yeah.
And then, but the compilations are so well done and so well edited. So thank you
And
for
here-
bringing Stairway to
you're
Stardom into our lives.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome. I mean, if I wasn't the person who found it, I would still be just as much of a fan because it's incomprehensibly.
No, but you
weird.
saw it and you recognized greatness, and you're like, the world needs to see more of this, and we appreciate
it was
Yes.
important to preserve it because, mainly because nobody would believe me if I told them about it.
Exactly.
I'm so
All right,
glad
well,
you
we'll
tracked that down.
mass produce this.
I'll get right
and,
on it.
Yes.
And
People
I see
want it.
by the stain on Joe's shirt drying up that it's time to go. But
Okay.
that's our timer. But thank you so much, Mitch, for joining us, and more Stairway to
pleasure.
Stardom to come.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mitch.
See ya. Good night.